Hello, Canadian MJ friends. Let me remove my blue screen. And that screen is to block so your eyes don't burn out your head. So it was a great day for Canadian MJ and US MJ today. Well, specifically US MJ. It continues to outshine. It's been about 5 days in a row now outshining Canadian MJ. It's very clear that we're having a high volume run up into the midterm elections. I absolutely expect to sell the news event with the midterm elections. The harder we run up, the more likely we're going to pull back. We've seen this show many times before. We're riding the coattails of the big boys. We could even see at the end of the day, which is healthy consolidation, but there were asks of hidden amounts. I'm speaking specifically on KSHB and CVSI that were just sat there and the bulls could not progress. And then with 15 minutes left in the day, those walls got removed, those hidden walls, and allowed the bulls to run to an end of the day, high of the day close. And we know that very likely leads to a gap up open. So we swung a bunch of positions. And it was the kind of day where I did not expect these kind of gains. And I had an appointment. I left the middle of the day, and that was fortunate for me because it probably led to me swinging significant positions that I otherwise would have been taking profit on today. So we did get a nice bull break on CGC as well. I missed that play because I was out during the day, but it was a very clear resistance break, and we got over 38.28 and 38.17. So that clear bull break led to about $2 of upside, and we closed up at the high of the day. So breaking $40 resistance was a good sign, but there's still a bunch of resistances nearby. And that's the difference between USMJ. And again, the videos, I'm going to keep referencing the videos that I made over the weekend, 3 of them. And I highly suggest going back and watching them just in hindsight to see what we had going in terms of a setup. And we were expecting the bulls to come out swinging today, which is why I entered some bullish positions first thing. But as far as CGC goes, that bull move occurred in correlation with SPY. SPY broke out significantly, and CGC did at the same time. And this bull volume came out of nowhere on the hourly chart. Huge ramp up in volume, but we're very overextended on the hourly. The last support established was over 10% ago at 36.37. So on any kind of higher open, we need to be cautious because we are due for an hourly higher low to form, which would be healthy. But just as an example, you look at CGC and the resistance here, we got 40.37, 41.06, 42.43, tons of resistance levels. And you look at these other names, CVSI, the break of 633, the next resistance level is 678. That's 6% away. So whereas CGC has a resistance level every percent or so, maybe every couple percent, these low cap OTC names have huge gaps between their resistance. And again, that was one of the reasons I highlighted that I expect gains to be better in the USMJ names because of the lack of resistances, whereas we're looking for Canadian MJ names to trade within their 3-week range that they just established for potentially months going forward. So it was a great day for the CGC bulls. They got follow through, and those gains were in line with USMJ bulls. And you can see as soon as we got that resistance break over the high of the last 2 days, that 38.17 and 38.28 level, that's when the bulls really turned it on with a lot of follow through. So we look for hourly healthy consolidation on CGC. We're going to look at ACB because that was the second best performer out of the major Canadian MJ names. And these videos from now on are going to be a mix and match of USMJ, small cap, Canadian MJ major players. And that's just because I can only do one video a day. And I could make a 3-hour video covering all the names very easily, but I'm obviously not going to do that every day. So I'm just going to check in on the tickers that I care about. And hopefully you all can learn something and get some information from them. But for ACB, we've got follow through, and we never even consolidated significantly on ACB. We never lost the uptrend. Look at the hourly chart. And we've just been forming a higher low on the hourly every step of the way, which is a great sign. So we've got support at 907 as the last level. Anything above 907 keeps the bulls in full control. And after resistance of 960, it's 988 and then 10 psychological. So a strong close at the high of the day there as well. So looking for a bit of follow through. And again, it's that scenario where we expect Canadian MJ to perform well with news, bullish news down south in the US. It's just who's going to see the most gains is what I'm concerned with the short-term trader. But if you got long-term Canadian MJ positions, you're just fine on a day like today. So I entered CVSI first thing this morning. And again, I expected the bulls to come out swinging with the strong close that we had on Friday. And as soon as we broke $6, I was already actually, I got in with an average of 595, and I was building positions all day, and I did not expect to go this heavy in USMJ, but once I saw the setup and I saw the fundamentals made me confident. Not only the technicals breaking resistance, but the fact that we have these midterms coming up, and that's something that people are looking to hold towards. So I don't normally enter a position with a swing trade mindset right off the bat, but this morning, that's what I was doing. So I entered a sizable position under $6 and then just held it all day because there were no red flags. There was one little sell-off on the 5-minute time frame that was a little bit concerning, but that held on just fine. And I knew when I looked at the hourly chart of that consolidation that we were just looking for an hourly higher low to form. So I ended up working out perfectly with the continuation move. Hourly higher low is 605. These USMJ bulls are likely going to see a blow off top similar to what we've seen in Canadian MJ. Whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday, I don't know, but we're going to look for a gap up open, a volume climax kind of day, and it's going to be one of the next 2 days in my opinion. So I'm going to be locking in profit on the way up and remaining protective and not giving back these gains. Resistance for CVSI, again, 633 was a double top today, and we broke 633 at the end of the day. The bulls let it run, and after 645 is 678, and then 7 psychological. So a lack of resistance has the bulls sitting pretty, and we're going to see how high of a gap up we can get tomorrow morning and whether the bulls buy that initial dip. So when we get the gap up open, we're going to see some profit taking. Do the bulls buy the dip and then see a new high of the day in the first half hour of trading? That will be very telling. If the bulls do, that tells us we're not done yet and we're likely going to run into Wednesday. So how we buy the dip tomorrow morning after a gap up open, which is the most likely scenario, is going to be very telling in the short term. KSHB, I entered on a $6 bull break, and that's because $6 was the high of the day. I saw USMJ extremely strong. I saw the potential setup where we were looking for the bulls to close strong and see a gap up open. Again, after the first hour or two of trading, it became clear we've seen this before. We know what big money is going to try and do. It's going to try and close things strong and gap up. That's where they get the most bang for their buck in terms of how much money they're going to make. So again, we're looking to ride those coattails. $6 was a double top. I entered on the bull break, and actually I took down resistance. So I entered at $6 resistance with multiple positions, and that's because I didn't want to enter after $6 broke because it's an OTC traded name, and my slippage would have easily been over 5 cents. So my average is $6, whereas if I waited for $6 to break, I would have a worse average. And it was just knowing that I was going to be buying a significant amount of shares and that I was going to take a lot of that $6 wall down by buying into it that allowed me to have the confidence knowing that it would likely break. So beautiful end of the day here as well. The daily chart getting over 622 was significant. 636, 642 are 2 key levels. Look at the weekly time frame. Trend change underway. Higher low. We're about to break if we get over 642 with a higher low and a higher high after many months of consolidation. 10 months, 11 months of consolidation. Monthly time frame trying to break bullish here. This is notable. USMJ got the hype. And we had CNBC talk about USMJ, but not specific companies. And that tells me they either, number one, haven't done any research and don't know anything about these companies. Number two, they haven't established their positions yet. But I expect them to be talking about individual US companies in the fairly near-term future. Today, they were just talking about the states that we're going to be legalizing, the governor race in Florida, and we'll know once they start talking about individual tickers what's going on. It's not a coincidence that they just start talking about them or whether they avoid talking about them, and they just aren't ready yet, and we're ahead of them. That's what our game plan was 2 weeks ago when I did that intro to USMJ video, and I talked about potentially looking to establish positions before CNBC starts talking about these individual companies. That's what we're looking to do. OGI, beautiful follow through as well. I missed this one. There was too much to be watching. This was a clear break from the video over the weekend. 602 and $6 was the level to get in on. You get in right when 602 breaks. Big time follow through up to 645. So essentially a 4% move on that break of 602 resistance. Strong close. We're going to look for a higher open. Next resistance level is 678. Again, a lack of resistance nearby with where we currently stand. OGI bulls are performing well. There's a bunch of blue sky breakout bulls that I'm not going to be looking at. Those are some of the smaller cap names, but we had a lot of bullish activity out there. ORHOF, another one with significant upside. So again, can't possibly cover all the strong names, but congrats to the bulls that are profiting. TGOD, so over the weekend, I said it's likely that we've set the low of 2018, and I'm going to double down on that with this follow through. Huge bull volume follow through. At this point from that low, we are up 100%. So congrats to any of the dip buyers there with fundamental reasons. 4-hour time frame, again, very overextended. Pretty much everybody that we're looking at is overextended, but we have hype and momentum into a fundamental event. But it's a known event, and what happens when the event is known? We get sell the news reactions. Support is 401 support. Anything above 401 maintains the hourly higher lows, and resistance is 485 and 490 and then 5 psychological. So bottom line is bulls are in complete control of every chart that I was looking at in MJ. We're overextended in a ton of names. We could see tomorrow mark the top, but we could also see tomorrow not mark the top and look to run into Wednesday. So I would imagine, I don't know. It's a 50-50 on which way it's going to go. And that's because it's such a clear date. You know, everybody's got the hype of the votes. They want to know what's going to happen with these states. Meanwhile, the market's already pricing in what states are going to pass. That's this run that we're seeing right now. It's the market pricing in legalization in Michigan and medical legalization in some of these other states. So that's the scenario and the setup. I'm going to be cautious and locking in profit from now until maybe Wednesday. I might take all my profit tomorrow. It depends on how hard we run up first and, you know, whether we get a gap up and then surge first thing, what the volume looks like. That's another thing that I was looking at first thing this morning to have confidence on buying. In the first half hour of trading, the first 15 minutes of trading, I was comparing all these USMJ names volume with their first hour of trading Friday. And knowing that Friday was an increased bull volume day in all these names, and knowing that in the first 15, 30 minutes of trading this morning, we could clearly see we're going to see more hourly volume today than we saw on Friday. So we can make the deduction that we're going to see higher volume today compared to Friday and keep the bull run up. And that's where I got some of my confidence to load these bigger positions as well. So congrats to the bulls. We're looking for gap up opens, party parrot kind of day. I'm jumping in the ocean, going to celebrate with some sushi, and I hope you're all well. Just remember to protect those profits, walk up some stop levels. And if you can't use stop losses, walk up some psychological stop levels and have a game plan and execute that game plan and get you money. Have a good night. Do a good thing.